They are some of the most vulnerable students, and some parents in Toronto say they are being denied vital supports. In Ontario, students with multiple exceptionalities are required to be in classes of no more than 6 students. But parents accuse the board of shifting them into classes of 10. And that might not sound like a big difference, but parents say it's having a detrimental impact on learning. So joining us with more this morning is Ron Clayman, a member of the Parent Council at Lucy McCormick Senior School. Thanks for making time to be here today.
Thank you for having me.
I know this is important to you. Your daughter was born with Phelan-McDermid syndrome. What effect does that have on her daily life?
So Phelan-McDermid syndrome is a mutation on a SHANK3 gene. Basically, it's a learning disability. She doesn't make enough of the glue that holds her neurons and her synapses together. So she's 15, but in many ways, she's 18 months. She's nonverbal. She has pica, which means that she swallows non-edible items, which is super dangerous. Right. Nonverbal, doesn't toilet herself and things like that.
The Ontario Education Act says that in no case shall the enrollment in a self-contained class exceed in a class for autistic pupils or for pupils with multiple handicaps for whom no one handicap is dominant, 6 pupils. So we established that number off the top. That should be the cap. But what are you and other parents seeing and experiencing?
So what the TDSB has done is they've ignored that particular section of the Education Act, and the province has allowed them to do it. Not just them, but other school boards as well. So that section that you just read of the Act, it's Regulation 298-31F, it was created specifically for the intent of caring for the most vulnerable kids in the province, which my daughter is one of. All the kids in the congregated school sites, like Lucy McCormick and Beverly School. And for parents who don't know, the congregated school sites, they are schools where every single child there is super high needs and has multiple profound exceptionalities. So this 31F was created to protect those kids. But there's enough wiggle room in the Education Act that the TDSB has skirted that 31F completely and not created a class size for it. So what they're doing is they're misclassifying kids. Instead of having multiple exceptionalities, they are saying they only have one exceptionality and then putting them into a class that is not the right size. So instead of maximum 6 students, now they're threatening to raise the class size up to 10 students.
It must be extremely frustrating as a parent who on the daily is already doing battle for your child to have somebody speak for you and misclassify your child to the Ontario government.
Yeah, it's pretty heartbreaking, and the TDSB unfortunately has not really lived up to the intent of the Education Act. Now, what they're doing is they're removing resources from these congregated schools, these centers of excellence. All the teachers in these schools, all the administration in these schools, they are passionate about working with our kids. And the TDSB is removing resources from these congregated sites into regular school sites. And what that does is that it puts more pressure on the teachers by having more students in the classes. And it's a real safety concern for the teachers and the students.
Ron, we reached out to the province, or to the Toronto District School Board, and I'm going to read you their statement in a moment, but I want to talk to you as a dad. Your daughter has had experience with both. While she's currently in a class of 6, yeah. She was in a class of 8 last year. What changes did you notice when she was not in the proper classroom? So
last year she was at Beverly School, which is an amazing school, and she had amazing care there. But being in a class of like 8 students, she wasn't given the attention that she needed. So toileting was always an issue. What
does that look like for parents who may not understand this situation?
So basically, she's in a diaper all day, and we have to kind of change her every half hour, every hour.
And so that wasn't happening for her?
That wasn't happening before. They did the best that they could, but that wasn't happening for her. And not only that, but she wasn't able to kind of learn that skill. At Lucy now, when she's in a classroom size of 1 to 6, she's really flourished. She's picked up the skill of, knowing that she only goes to the toilet when she's at a toilet, right. Which is a huge, it's something, so small for so many, families. it's a huge, profound change. Like any little bit is a huge change to families like ours.
Listen, we reached out to the Toronto District School Board. We asked them to respond to the trend that parents are observing of students with multiple exceptionalities being placed in classes of those with developmental disabilities that have caps of 10, so from 6 to 10. What do you want to say to that? First of all, I'll tell you what they said. They said students are placed in a special education classroom following the identification, placement, and review committee process. If parents and guardians disagree with the placement that results from an IPRC, there is an appeal process to have that decision reconsidered.
Yeah, so what they're doing is they're just obfuscating what's actually happening. So that IPRC process, they offer you a placement. But the placement that they offer you is, they don't offer you a placement in a class with 6 students. They offer you a placement in a class that they've labeled as developmental disability.
Yeah.
So in the Education Act, that class type for developmental disability has a maximum of 10 students. What they don't say is that they don't have any class types for 31F, for multiple exceptionalities. Right. So they're right. They offer you, you can have this class of 10 or that class of 10 or that class of 10. They just simply don't offer what the Education Act says they need to.
I'm going to let you have the last word here. We talked about the frustration it is as a parent having somebody else speak on your behalf. So I'm going to let you speak directly to somebody who might be able to make a difference.
Thank you. Premier Ford, my friend, we invite you to come and visit Lucy McCormick or any of the other congregated sites. There is a disconnect between what's happening at the congregated schools and what your office understands. And the only way to close that divide is to have you spend an hour in a classroom and see what happens in these classrooms. If you spend an hour at Lucy McCormick in a classroom with 6 kids, you will leave with a greater understanding that you could ever imagine. And there is no way that you will allow what's going on to continue. So yeah, please come and visit us. We, speaking on behalf of all the parents at all the congregated school sites, we invite you to come and see for yourself what's going on.
Ron Clayman, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.